Good afternoon. My name is Patricia Jameson, and I'm a member of University of Maryland Global Campus Europe's HR consulting team. Today's presentation will focus on how human factors can solve GBE's crises. My presentation will begin with a high-level overview of Granville history and current problems. I will share components of human factors theory and how these theories can be applied towards GBE's current situation. I will share findings and at least 3 recommendations. I will share my sources used, and time will be available for any questions you may have. Granville Engineering and Company, known as GVE, evolved from a bicycle manufacturing company located in Midwestern USA that employed 8 employees to a company that employs over 1,500 employees. 1,250 are located at headquarters. A high-tech center is located in Germany, and small sales offices are distributed between New York, Seattle, Seoul, Beijing, and Milan. So in time, GVE moved from a local company to a global company, consequently more diverse in employee demographics and locations. GVE changed from a union-free company that used to pride itself in providing noteworthy benefits to employees and operating as a big extended family to a company now facing crises. I would like to share this quote with you from Dr. Frederick Herzberg. He's a theorist that has written about motivation and hygiene profiles, and he studied these factors and how they impact organizations. He says organizations are like people. When they are healthy, they operate within normal ranges. In his paper, he asks, is your organization running a fever? Is it showing signs of tension and pressure, on the verge of going into shock? Dr. Herzberg describes diagnostic procedures that will help organizations answer these questions. I will use these diagnostic procedures for the purpose of today's presentation and explanations and recommendations. So what happened? A series of crises. And here are a list of several crises I've discovered during my evaluation. A drop in revenue, operating at a loss, projections suggest a continued decline in revenue and increase in expenses. Production technology is outdated and very labor intensive for employees. Increased competition in the market, the union is gaining traction. Raises and profit sharing has been suspended. Younger employees are becoming more disgruntled. Employee turnover rate has increased. There's been a missed production quota, defects in products produced, increased conflict. There are alleged troublemakers in the workforce causing problems. A recent cost-benefit analysis that was supposed to be kept confidential has been released, and now employees have access to this information, and potentially this will be released to the public. There's been accusatory outbursts at the town hall, and there's an existing proposal to close GVE plant and move production operations overseas. I will now share with you explanations and recommendations using human factor theory. So you may be wondering, why human factor theory? Why is it relevant? Well, human factor theory can be applied to explaining situations that organizations experience and can be used to provide recommendations on how organizations can improve. Human factor theory considers the people involved, takes into consideration the human element in management and leadership, and human factor theory recognizes factors necessary for a motivated, engaged, and productive workforce. So here you can see Frederick Herzberg theory of motivation and how this theory can be applied. Here is a profile, a classical profile that organizations can use to assess the company's culture in terms of hygiene, dissatisfiers, and motivation factors that satisfy employees. Frederick Herzberg motivation-hygiene theory suggests employee satisfaction or dissatisfaction at work is dependent on work factors that relate to the content of their jobs and how they are treated at work. According to Herzberg, what makes people satisfied at work are motivation factors related to the content of their jobs, whereas employees' happiness or unhappiness at work is dependent on how well or how poorly they are treated by management. Motivation factors are those factors I've listed on the right. However, for today's presentation, I will focus on the hygiene factors that appear to be causing dissatisfaction at GBE, consequently hurting performance. Hygiene factors, which are preventive and environmental conditions at work, include the job context, such as those items mentioned here: company policy, administration, supervision, and interpersonal relations, working conditions, salary, status, and security. This list starts with company policy administration because it's been said to have the most frequent influence on employee satisfaction and dissatisfaction, with security having the less frequent influence. I've highlighted the three areas that seem to be the most prevalent over at GBE. So here are the hygiene factors at GBE broken down into another visual. So disruption, business first mindset, and different agendas impacts leadership. Mistrust, conflict, divides impact interpersonal relationships. Outdated tools, labor intensive tools, and tools failing impact working conditions for the employees. Instability, lack of control, change impacts employees' job security. Here I am matching GBE's crises to hygiene, dissatisfiers, and motivations. According to Herzberg, companies that face a hygiene crisis when specific hygiene concerns are consistently overlooked or ignored. When looking at the crises through the theoretical concept like here on this slide, it is clear why employees are leaving the company and floor production workers are considering a union. It appears that their needs are not being met and that they are dissatisfied by a number of factors that haven't been addressed. Here you can see the demotivators outweighing motivation, and the human factors necessary for a motivated, engaged, and productive workforce are lacking, as you can see on the right. This analysis suggests that management is not considering human factors in their leadership and are missing out on opportunities for high performance. The good news, there are recommendations that can definitely help GBE get back on track. When applying Herzberg's theory toward solutions, employee job satisfaction can be improved if motivation factors are increased, and employee job dissatisfaction can be reduced by improving hygiene factors. Those are those factors on the left. So for starters, I suggest management focus on improving the hygiene factors by creating a strategy for improving work conditions, interpersonal relations, security, and leadership at GBE. To further respond to the financial crises, turnover, competitive market, and to identify opportunities, I also suggest management use input from employees across the company via a task force to assess GBE's position using a SWOT and PEST analysis. For instance, the new innovative ideas from R&D, which I've noted on the top here, can result in employees no longer being afraid of losing their jobs. And encouraging employee involvement will give employees more influence over their work environment, which can serve as a motivator. Furthermore, I recommend management ensure pay and benefits do not fall below a suitable level, as these can become a demotivator, which they currently don't appear to be. Motivational factors involved in performing the jobs I will not focus on for the purpose of today's recommendations, and we'll save this for later. Setting aside motivational factors will not hinder the ability to fully understand the problems and make effective recommendations. There's a strong possibility that motivation will increase once the hygiene factors, the treatment of employees, have improved, and management will see a positive change in performance. One approach does not apply to all situations GBE is facing. Other theories can also be applied at this time. However, in the meantime, I'm going to focus on what seems to be the immediate concern, and those are those dissatisfiers. These factors are within management's control to influence and change starting now. So I will leave you with this formula I've shown previously that can be used to solve GBE's crisis management and improve operations. Ensure salary and benefits do not fall below suitable levels. Improve the treatment of employees. Engage employees. Treat employees as valuable assets, manage the hygiene issues, and communicate. This can result in increased job performance, higher employee engagement, and consequently improved operations. Here are a list of sources I've used, and I will conclude with my thanks for your time and attention, and ask if you have any questions for me at this time.